I've just been down to South Devon and stayed in Shaldon, which is right next to Teignmouth on the South Devon coast. It was a family holiday, but I did get to speak to a number of local anglers, checking at the tackle shop. So what we're looking at here is Teignmouth, which is a lot larger than Shaldon as a town, and it's really a typical seaside resort. Buckets and spades, lots of boats, activities and things like that. So although this isn't the best fishing spot, I just thought I'd mention it as well because there is a decent sandbank there. It has got a pier, although the pier did, you can't even get to the end of the pier now because in 2014 it got damaged by a storm. But another interesting sort of area really with the sandbank out there, which you might want to try and hit distant rods. You can see that there. Obviously that's caused by the tin running out. You can actually fish from the car park here, but only really at high tide. I've seen people, disabled anglers, fishing there. Again, it's still not the best spot. We're coming on to that in a minute. And as you can see there, you've got a car park at the end of the head there, and you can see why it's so good to fish. So if you do want to fish the tin side, then the closest car park will be here. This is the Point car park. You can park anywhere throughout the town, but this would be the closest mark, and also the closest to get the ferry across. This is actually the area to pick up your cruises for wildlife cruises, the mackerel fishing. That's where you get your ferry from there. You can see they do boat trips for mackerel and things like that as well. Jackman's Tackle is the only and best tackle shop in the town. I popped in to see him, very helpful indeed. He caters for the holiday angler as well as those that are a little bit more into it. And looking back to Teignmouth here from Shaldon side, you can see why that would fish so well. And the harbour mouth, I assume, just acts as a funnel for the fish. It also dislodges the prawns, a sand eel, bait fish, crabs and things like that, making easy pickings for the bass. The flow of the tide here can be pretty full on, even this far away from the actual mouth of the river. As for your baits, many locals tend to swear by the sand eel. There used to be someone that provided bait up on the Teignmouth side for large sand eel and launce. You'd need to bring your own aerator. Couldn't find them when we went down there though. But the locals do consider sand eel and launce, and also float fish prawn is also quite deadly, and peeler crab over the rocky sections. You've also got the bonus if you've got the peeler crab on of getting a flounder as well. You don't need to cast far, and balanced tackle works well. A lot of people are using float rods, using braid as well, spinning with fluorocarbon on the end. Lots of specialist rods, even fly fishing, if you can get that fly down deep enough. It is safe for kids to fish, perhaps a bit nearer the ferry. The flow's less likely to take them off somewhere. Our suggestion for a decent float rod, if you're going to be live baiting with the prawn, the launce, is to use this one here. You can see on the side, I'll put a link to that one. I saw a few bass caught. There was a couple of 3-pounders, nothing massive. These were all being returned as well, which was good to see. But I do know that larger fish can be caught here, with an 8-pounder caught at the Point apparently this year already. The water's generally quite clear. Disadvantage of course doing it fishing during the day is you're going to get things like this crazy dog that was trying to get onto my mackerel feathers here. Managed to avoid that one. And you do get quite a bit of weed as well, particularly on the ebbing tide where it comes down the river. As you can see here, it just helps us out to take a load out. And this is the ferry. So the ferry runs between Shaldon and Teignmouth. Apparently this is one of the oldest passenger ferries in the world. Apparently it's England's oldest passenger ferry. They found it dates back to 1296. I think they're on their 4th or 5th carnation of boat though. It's £1.60 if you're an adult. It's quite a nice way to do it, to avoid parking. If you wanted to fish both sides, you could use a ferry to get across to Shaldon, and vice versa. This is 12 Bore, he helped us out. He's a fellow YouTuber who helped us out with some suggestions for tackle. Fishing very light he was. But it's an interesting rock pool area. You're going to pick up your peeler crab baits early in the season. Something like that would be a good size. Use those for the flounder, and of course the prawns as well, using a smaller shrimp net. And this guy did quite well. I noticed he caught a couple of bass on like a Dexter wedge type lure. You've also got your fish black minnows as well, another option if you want to fish lures, and particularly around those rocks there you might want to try a J13 or a sinking plug, and the bass will work up there. And of course your live sand eel, which you need to hook through the eyes or the head. But it's a terrific little area, this. I'd fish it during the early flood or towards the end of the ebb, because the fish will be moving across. There's a lot of rock pool life there as well. This is it at high tide from the Shaldon side, so you're looking back at the lighthouse there. And I'm not sure fishing would be as good there, but all those rock pools do get covered up, so you can fish through any state of the tide. This is just with the tide pushing about an hour away from low there. You can see it could be easy to get cut off if you get too adventurous. But yeah, it's a brilliant area, Shaldon. I definitely recommend it if you're nearby. Do keep away from the tides there. And there's a lot for the family to do as well, so you can combine it with a trip up to Ness Beach. We're actually going to look at Ness Beach now. So parking for Ness Beach is behind the Ness pub. You can either come up through Shaldon or off the coast road for that. And Ness Beach is, you see those the greenery bit there sticking out the other side of the tin. And there's actually a tunnel, or an old smuggler's tunnel, that runs from about there, and it goes right the way through to Ness Beach. So you'd have to walk down. You can park reasonably close, and then down through this tunnel to the Ness Beach. And Ness Beach itself, oh man, it's a beautiful beach. Wouldn't recommend it during the middle of holiday season. This is it here on a reasonably warm day, so there's lots of kids playing and stuff. You want to avoid that for some serious angling, but go to either side of the beach. I've actually snorkeled here and found edible crabs, dogfish. I saw a bullhuss and bass as well. So back up to the Teignmouth Bridge, or Shaldon Bridge, as it runs between Teignmouth and Shaldon. And this has historically been the number one spot to catch bass under the bridge on float fish sand eel. Now you can't officially fish there. A good second best would be here at shoreside. You can only really fish there up to about, or around sort of an hour either side of high tide, but it does give good access onto those sandbanks there, maybe for the flounder with your peeler crab baits. You can see the bridge in the distance there, and there is a legend actually. I think it's the fourth lamppost from the Shaldon side fishes best. There's your parking for it on the Shaldon side. You can also park on the Teignmouth side. So we walked across the sandbank, and you can cast in and around the pylons. That's obviously where the bass will hide to stay out of the main flow, so they can dart out and grab the bait. So it's worth trying something around here. Similar sort of baits you'd have at the mouth of the river. That live sand eel method works quite well. Seen people catch fish here on that, and you can actually see fish at low tide. I'll put some links to other YouTube videos where they show the bass underneath. Nice, good fun to look at. Again, same problem with the weed. And there you go. So as a recap then, you've got that Teignmouth to Shaldon Bridge. You're not really meant to fish off the bridge. It's been banned, and it is a bass nursery area, so it's a no take zone. So you're parking for that bridge, if you're going on the Shaldon side, would be there. There's a very limited amount of parking. Alternatively, if you wanted to fish this Teignmouth Bridge, you could use one of the sort of private type roads around to the right of Shaldon. You might find somewhere to park up there. Don't think the locals would be very pleased with me suggesting that. Parking's a bit of a premium in Shaldon. Alternatively, up on the main road there's near the Tesco's and the road up there's a few little parking spots you could use, and that's the bridge itself. So yeah, the fourth lamppost from the Shaldon side is meant to be the hot spot, but bear in mind I think it's still a bass nursery area there, and of course you're not allowed to land the bass anyway, but that's where they are.